Right, we are live. We are live. Anyway, from Bulem, today, now the 4th of September, 2023. The time on the side is 8 minutes past 10 o'clock. So we are kind of 7 minutes, 8 minutes late for we scheduled broadcast. But by we standard, which is not a good thing, it's not really too bad. Again, I repeat, today, now the 4th of September, 2023. The time on my side is 10:09. 10:09 is the time on my side. And I want to bring warm greetings to Fambulem from the TNN TV Media Empire, where they broadcast on live on Facebook and YouTube. This particular program is being live streamed to YouTube and Facebook. We get two particular issues that we want to touch on today. You may have seen the flyer or the little bulletin where I put out. But also, I want to use the opportunity to apologize because yesterday we be supposed to get this program over the air today regarding visa ban and a list. And I know some people are interested in that list. Now, just before we take the quick break, before we come into the real program, I want to let family understand, say, this list where we compile is a list where not from the U.S. Embassy or the U.S. State Department, we impose the ban of visa restriction on individuals na salon. But out of waiting they say, which is the one then where they undermine, help for undermine democracy in the country, these are the kind of people that are affected by this visa ban list. So now out of that, we use we own common sense for formulate a list because, come on, ladies and gents, I mean, it's easy for let we determine who are those we undermine democracy before and during and even after the elections. I'm sure every one of us that are watching now, we definitely were able to come up with names where we think, we feel, we suspect, say, they help for undermine democracy. But family, once again, today na the 4th of September 2023. The time on my side is 22:10. That means 10:10. I remember I've been in school in Monrovia long years ago. 10:10, that be my class where I just enter secondary school. And when they call ourselves drugs. And why we do so? Now because 10:10 was a kind of Valium, a sedative kind of drug where you take it drowses you up and etc. etc. But let's leave that for another day. It just occurred on my mind when I say 10:10, and every time I say that, something about me old school they come up or me upbringing. But family, don't touch that dial and we ask you now, please help for share. We are coming down heavy. Thank you. So once again, welcome, family, and we go try for. We know I make a promise we make a short, but we intend for making short the program. We begin with elections has got consequences. In other words, every action it is spark a reaction. So action sparks reaction, and the reaction of course can vary depending on waiting the action or the reaction they react to. In this case, Fambulem is about elections now in country Sierra Leone. Some people wish we can just stop for talk about elections now in country. I know that for sure because I can get calls and say this is like, why the hell do you keep still going on about elections don't done? The presidents don't win, so we need to move on. Well, again, not to me, they spark the conversation, not just the circumstances they spark the conversation, which is, yes, the president was declared as a winner, but that declaration there is being contested by others who are the losers. It can sound like a ritual, to be honest, because everywhere in the world, when somebody loses an election, they tend for put up a fight for say, well, no, the election not been clean, free and fair. Sometimes when they do this now, on physical, tangible evidence. On other times, or on both times when they do them, now because they need for send a message to them, follow them, because you don't want to look like a loser in a contest. So if people let me don't can support you, you're not just to give up easily, because then people then spend time, sometimes they spend money on you, and then suddenly you lose. You then stand for be blamed as to you being the loser, and a cost will come at the expense of them people that will support you. So therefore you put up a fight, say, no, we not lose the election, or now because of this and that and one of you. Anyway, for narrowing down to what we talk about is the Sierra Leonean elections. Famulem, forgive me again for repeating the date, which was on the 24th of June, 2023, in this very year of our Lord, we get to elections. The elections, according to constituted authority way for declare whether win the elections or lost the elections, in this case, a winner, not the boss, we call a commissioner, than the portfolio designate, the title of the person will occupy that position. They, Commissioner Mohammed Kone, is say the incumbent President Julius Maada Bio won the elections at first rounds. But like every other elections, these elections was no different in the sense that it was marred by violence, intimidation, coercion, and many other negatives. And this is not to make we make this. I repeat, not to make we make them up. These things actually happen. The elections were marred by violence and intimidation and many other things negative to an elections. So whilst the opposition, they claim that, and in this case, we think help the opposition people them, it's not only because they are making these claims, but their claims are now backed by the international community. And why so? Because the international community had international observers on the ground. Is anybody going to deny the things I've just said? I'm sure, except you are a pinhead. You have pinhole in your head. That's the only way you would deny that. This is exactly what happened. So those results have been contested. And the elections observer mission made up of international organizations, we, for talk about them briefly, then try for ascribe or for malign this international organization and their name by saying they took sides, which is not true. But they managed to get some people and for believe say indeed they take sides. No, even if they take sides, me don't know about that because me self monitor the elections thoroughly. It is possible that they take sides, but until we get a convincing argument or evidence for proof that, then no. They only came, as per my understanding and the definition of the job description, for observe the elections. That's what they came to do. And observe the elections, they did. They observe them. Their observation also say that when they not observe, they therefore need for come up with an observation report, waiting una observe, because that help for inform the outcome of the elections and future policies where these people and what we call with developmental partners, who they partner with in almost everything that we do, go help for formulate policies for help the country for grow. This is exactly what happened. But then these people that we can observe, notice they were malfeasance, there were disruptions, there were intimidations, there were coercions inside we election where we just hold. They were there. So they don't need to be told by a third party because they themselves were there, then witness them firsthand. So therefore, you cannot contest this evidence from another angle because not that somebody can tell them, what do I mean by this? Let me say now APC, for example, let me tell them, say, hey, bra, or family, when not see this or not this and that, now it happen. This is not the case. These people, as international observers, for themselves, they see them things they have with their own eye. And when they see with their own eye, of course, they are obligated for compile a report because back now send them there. So waiting and observe, they waiting and see, they waiting and feel they need for compile them in a report and send them back to the same people them where we send them in. And waiting and send back and not look good at all for we government. The government, in inverted commas, elected. In other words, the Julius Maada Bio government elected for the second term. This draw the ire of the opposition party. Of course, when you lose, sometimes losing is not a graceful thing. Some people are not going to accept losing. But the losing side, or when you lose, it has to be something on a fair basis. What do I mean by this? When you lose on a fair basis, but you still go on for complaint, people in self women they support you, go say, Ebo, paddy man, waiting are your problem. You lost, then are young people women they support you. You lost, just accept the losses and let's move on. Unfortunately, this is not the case. In this case, where we did talk about, on pen and paper, between the commissioner of the elections, how you call them? Let me make sure say I get audio. Let me just check because I know say I get a few fumble and they watch right now. Yeah, a few fumble and they watch right now, and they can always tell me if something they happen or not. I hope the travel ban include all. Okay, which means people and they hear me sooner than the first comment, and they are not intent for go to comment yet. Greetings from Holland. Abubakar Mansare, respect my brother. Delwin, very intelligent man. I think he's holidaying with his family right now as we speak somewhere in the United Kingdom having fun. I wish the family more fun. What is the criteria used to compile your list? Okay, that's Delwin. Even before I read his statement, it's like he has a critical mind. Yes, I will come to that, Delwin. I mean, just want to make sure say una they hear me. And what I now know is Famulem, then they hear me. But let I just put this in the place quickly. Of course, you get people away opposed to waiting at they say or opposed to this platform. So when you put something like this, say support, then can oppose them. Then sometimes they can be generous enough or come with emoticons with anger or angry, a frown, or just simply no. But these things what we do, it cost money. Your internet services, your own time, and etc. Could have been doing something else. But yes, you don't have to help the platform grow with support of whatever change you want for the platform. That is left with other people. So you don't have to. But still, we make the general appeal. Okay, we do. Because why? We are trying to communicate to Sierra Leonean people. Well, Famulem, just before I go for the few things that I want to highlight just now, including my own brother, Delwin, all the way from some part of the United Kingdom. we go attempt for address, then question, and the brother in question already don't take a photograph imprint in my brain, which is waiting at the criteria used for compile the list. It's a simple answer, but I will come with that later. But let's continue with where we were. So, Famulem, this is exactly the point we don't try for make. Okay. Where we don't hold this election and people ask questions or raise questions, this election here enough free, enough fair. Of course, there are two sides to the story, and some people can therefore say three sides. The third side mean the person waiting at the middle or the opinion waiting at the middle, because A has got an opinion, C has got an opinion, B is in the middle for adjudicate between these two opinions. Based on the two opinions, the way you analyze, how do you arrive at a conclusion? Almost like science, if you conduct an experiment. Okay, you can look at this, you can look at that, and then you arrive at your conclusion. But it has to be convincing. And science is more convincing because you show proof step by step how you arrive at your experiment in conclusion. But anyway, going back quickly, the June 24, 2023 elections, it don't raise eyebrows then so much so that the international community, we come for can monitor the elections, just don't agree themselves with the result. They don't. They feel say the results were cooked up, that the powers that be used them powers in government for, first of all, hijack the institutions of state, then turn around and weaponized these institutions of state using coercion and intimidation, and therefore the desired outcome what they want, which is to be declared as winner, was exactly what they got. But the science in this case was never right. How did you arrive? There are bones of contention. For example, say the votes were being counted when the commissioner been reading results. How is that possible? Well, it's not like it's impossible, but then it run contrary to the results where the people that been together tally what they've been do. It run contrary to the results where the commissioner been read. So it raised eyebrows. People are confused. People ask questions. It's like, what is this, for example? Why is it? So this now exactly happened during the elections. That up to this point, as we talk so today, inside this presentation, Famulem they ask, but how this happened? Why on earth should it happen? And the reason why some people they call them a brazen theft. In other words, outright theft of their trust and confidence is because of some of them things there. Say, but we pan count waiting we heap inside the box. We for determine waiting you they read. But we're not count done yet, and then you don't read waiting will not count done yet, and even come to a conclusion using waiting with the count as a matter of fact for say this na in conclude the election. This na in make Mr. X win. Okay? Completely wrong. Completely wrong. So therefore we say, excuse me. So therefore we say elections has got consequences. I go back again to the saying what I said earlier. I think now one of the person only forget because we are getting older. But what I mean by forget is like we getting great philosopher them. Then words them or then jargons them or then maxim them when they use for hundreds of years, it remain true today. It remained true today. And one of them is what I was trying to pick up. I've been saying as Sir Isaac Newton. No, this one is completely different. But the point here is for every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction. Now, those of you watching this, those philosophers, those academics watching this, wanna give me the answer quickly. Who said these words? I mean, the research program is so much, sometimes your head gets clogged up. But I do remember, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And this is what is happening. So they say the president win. But then other people then go on for contest that. It's not like it's impossible for contestants to win a day, because of course you can contest them, not only because you not just agree, but the process at which you arrive at your answers is just not proper. It's just not correct. So you continue for challenge the reports. Let me check the chat room quickly. I sure say somebody go down respond to the question. Yes, there we go. Who is this? Benson Wilhelm. Thank you very much. Yes, I thought so much, and I think say I mentioned Sir Isaac Newton. I mentioned him, but then my mind they go on boku other things them. But thank you so much. I appreciate that, and all those will try for give me the answer. I do appreciate that, John. Many thanks for that. So yes. Every action one takes, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Sir Isaac Newton, he said those words hundreds, over a century ago. Yes. So the same thing is applicable today. And I make these thoughts philosophical because they make so much sense that even when they were said 400, 500, 200 years ago, they are still applicable to this day. The president say he win because the man we charged with the responsibility for declare the president say he win. He tell the president say you win automatically through the channel given to him as commissioner of the ECSL. Now the president is right because somebody don't make him say, well, you are legally the president-elect. It don't mean say the process legal itself, especially when it is being challenged. So again, it goes back to our topic. Elections has consequences, and those consequences are being felt now. Now let's move to another important aspect of this conversation. The important aspect of this conversation, where many people really want to understand, know, and hear, is the visa ban, to which my good friend Delwyn Thomas asked a question, because I said that I have a compilation of a list, and I want to let we understand the key word in my compilation, an assume list. So I speak not because the State Department of the US sent the list to me. No. Assume. And for answer Delwyn in question, before I delve deeper into it, because I'm going to go into that, and for all Fambulem, the list where we compile them on the basis of waiting na the criteria of the ban. I repeat, waiting at the criteria of the ban. The criteria of the ban is, according to the US State Department, is those that are undermining, I think that the key word is, those that are undermining democracy. Now, it doesn't take rocket science for determine those that are undermining democracy. And for do so, we first of all get to understand what is democracy. It's important. It may sound simple, but for arrive at some of these conclusions, we get to understand what is democracy. If we can determine what is democracy, then therefore we then look at the pronouncements made by the US State Department, say they are banning those who are undermining democracy. Why now? Because we understand what democracy means. So if you are undermining democracy, as we don't come for understanding because we don't look up the meaning, we don't understand the context in which it was used, it is being used. So therefore, we now know because we know the meaning of democracy, who are those undermining this process? Fambulem, are you guys with me? We get nearly 200 people. But yeah, but let us not just enjoy this program by ourselves. Let we shape. 200 of us are watching now. 200 times 2 times 3. So if we can share them over and over, because we know say other programs and they're on and there are people watching. But let we not stop from sharing. Okay? Even if you are not for the idea that you can watch, yeah, and waiting with the talk, like that. You go like for bring people them of your own kind for also can listen. So somewhere in between, then be able for decipher the lie, if you assume say that's what we're doing, from the truth. So please do. Let me continue for share. So for like I've been say, having defined democracy, and we don't understand now exactly what it is because we don't look up the meaning. And then we apply that meaning to a country. We look at from a contextual point of view. Within the USA, why are they putting visa ban on people? All those that are undermining democracy. What now is democracy? How is it applicable to your country? Waiting potentially people and do or go do for undermine that democracy as defined. Then now we begin for look at names. So if we start with the names, we are moving now. We go begin in the first place will be, I repeat, in the first place. Let me drink water because this is heavy. Okay. This is heavy, but of course, we need to shy away from saying what we believe is the truth. So we are now moving into the names. Yeah. So the first name where we get now, we list where we compile. And Delwyn, I hope say I don't answer the question. How we arrive? Because now we say we compile a list. So before we go to the first name, I say I want attempt for answer Delwyn in question where I believe say I don't answer. But I be one through and back to them. Hopefully I don't satisfy that criteria there. How did we arrive at the compilation of a list? For arrive at the compilation of the list means say we understand the meaning of democracy. How is this meaning applicable to a country? And therefore, who are those undermine that meaning of democracy now a country? So therefore, we've got a list. And Fambulem, when I say we got a list probably of 15 or 16 Fambulem where we want to showcase today. Okay? We want to showcase then 16 Fambulem day today. But we list of people where we think say we get. Okay? So number one na the list is the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Okay. I want to repeat. Number one now of people that will possibly they face a visa ban na the country today na the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Who is he? We don't say we all sabi him. We know that, not so. But we get the reason why I can flow outside of English and Creole now because we always get foreigners them where they watch we. Okay. We always get foreigners them where they watch we. Hence I can like for speak English and Creole. But for begin with, the number one man today winning on the list where we compile is the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. And is none other but retired brigadier Okay, I'm pictured there now they see. So we go attend for put few pictures of people and what we believe say are part and parcel of this US ban. Retired Brigadier Julius Matter Bill. He is at the head, now in the hitman, on this particular visa list. But before I go before, some people ask, as I understand, the president is currently in the United States of America. So people are going to say, but you are saying, you're the president named in a visa ban and etc. But of course, it not mean say when you named in a visa ban, you not go America. Of course, you can go there because there are certain dispensations. Certain dispensations. There are certain immunities, especially the hitman for a country. He's a big man. He's respected to some. So when he goes on site, there are visa waiver up to that point. Say, well, okay, because the country has to be represented, we waive this ban on them. They ban day, but we waive them. In other words, there are conditions, there are caveats, there are situations around the visa ban we can embrace or allow certain individuals for go around the situation. And this involves the president. So the president in name, they not the visa ban list, but he is still allowed to attend these conferences and go places because why? He enjoys immunity according to international law because he is the head of state. Head of state means you're not the hitman for a country. So he enjoys such benefit. Doesn't mean that his name is not there. It could be there. It should be there. It is there. And we believe strongly that it is. Why? Again, because there is something called quo bono. Quo bono means who benefits out of the actions taken to undermine democracy, which the United States, they act in behalf of. It is the president and many other people. We will talk about a few of them. But number one, now we list today, is the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, His Excellency, Retired Brigadier Julius Matter Bill, is the number one man on the list. Okay, I repeat, he is the number one man on the list of visa ban them on people them where the American government has banned. Julius Matter Bill is number one on it. You can fool some people sometimes. You can fool many people sometimes. You can fool all of the people, sometimes, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. That's the huge difference. So Fambulem, we number one man on the list is retired Brigadier, His Excellency Julius Matter Bill, and the number one man on the list. The number two person on the list, Fambulem, is based on the same criteria. All of which we use, we now move outside of the same criteria, which is waiting we feel say, no say the United States government use for arrive at the banning of certain individuals from entering the United States. Visa restriction. Now the same thing now we use. I remember say, then we issue the ban list, they not issue out the names of people. No, they didn't. And I don't get mentions from people through messages. But when you listen now, have you got access to it? No, they did not provide that. What they would have done is forward that list to the Foreign Ministry of the Republic of Sierra Leone, to the government basically of the Republic of Sierra Leone. These are names of people who are banned from A, having visa, even for apply for them. B, the one that we already get visa, because remember, say some of these people, they already get visa, but those visas have been revoked. So, for example, if you name them on that United States list, even though you get a visa, it might be valid for 5 or 10 years, you get diplomatic book or whatever way you want to describe them. The idea that your name is on that list, when you go for go fly, you will be denied. So obviously, they would have been informed. The foreign ministry of the country involved would have been informed. Today, I'm able to talk the way I want to talk back because I'm home alone. And I know say, first of all, to all the family, we wish me daughter, the last one, she turned 18 on yesterday. And they flown out. Of course, me not go on the trip. I mean, supposed to go to The Hague, Holland, on the 2nd, which was on a Saturday. My flight got delayed and then it got cancelled. And then I came home and then my daughter and birthday. And it's like, I'm not going anywhere any longer. I'd rather stay with the family. I got to apologize to the people and maybe invite me for the event for go speak. Please forgive me. I can't come. This is not the situation. Yeah. So even when I'm on this program now, can apply for letting me money back, obviously, because I don't fly. And if any other benefits I will take advantage of that because it was very, very much antagonizing. Antagonizing is a very strong word, but I use them specifically because that's exactly what happened. So the farm will fly out yesterday morning. They are on holidays now in Spain, and I'm home alone with the family pet. We do have a cat. Some of you will have seen the cat, which is the pet, the family pet. But going back again to waiting with the talk, now the criteria this way we use, we're not using outside of waiting the USA. The USA, all those that are undermining democracy. For understand those that are undermining democracy means that we get to understand the word democracy. How is it applied to every country? Once we don't understand that context, we know those who helped to undermine democracy. So we don't name actor number 1. Actor number 2, Fambolem, will be, and I want to bring the picture up just before I mention the name. Actor number 2 will be, I repeat, actor number 2. Actor number 2. Where are we? Actor number 2. Okay. I'm having issues every time we come to actor number 2, and then suddenly we get issue then. But we are not giving up. We're still gonna bring it up. Trust me. With the bring come up. But we get 15, 16 names, and by the time we don't name all of them, then we go able for conclude the program quickly. No one for stay too long. I have to go to work tomorrow. I'm off today, so I've got some time, here to play on. Yeah. Actor number 2. Actor number 2. Where are you? Okay. The picture seems hard for come up, but to we, number 2 will be the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone. The First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Madam Fatima Jabi Bio, is the second name on we list of people where we believe say undermine or they help for undermine democracy na we country. Okay, I repeat, Madam Fatima Jabi Bio, now one of the people where they help for undermine democracy na we country. Yeah. So, and she happens to be the First Lady. And we all know that she's been very, very active in undermining democracy in our country. That is it's not like we make up the story, Famulem, not so. We're not making up the story. It is a fact that according to the definition, where we know now, we very beautiful First Lady, Madam Fatima Jabibio. Now, one of them people them where they help for undermine democracy or we help for undermine democracy in the country. How? But of course, he try for promote the government as a them because she's very much a part and parcel of the government. We get for members say this is not possible we not vote for. She does not really hold a political office. Even though then they try for big fool we for believe like say he hold a political office. But no, what he stand for? What did she stand for? A member of parliament? Or was she appointed the most, or not even the most, the least? Was she appointed by the president for head some parastatal, some ministry, some department, we give this leverage for talk or do things the way they do? The answer is no. She's only the wife of the president, but she has become so involved in our politics, the politics affecting the lives of our people is determined by this first lady. I repeat, the politics, and not only the politics, if I may add, and policies affecting the lives of our citizenry, our people, is determined by the first lady, who is only supposed to be the wife of the president of the republic, a comforter of the president, the person where they make the president find the money, make sure say they buy his face fine, they buy wear fine clothes, he wear fine food. He eat fine food. He they in the right state of mind so that the 8 million of us that he governs, we are doing well. Fambulen, this is not the case. Instead, they interfere with politics. A first lady who has no political remit, no political obligation, has become deep down in with politics. They dictate policy. And the policies are not going well, because if they were going well, then probably we could forgive and forget. But no, they are not. Instead, they continue to be divisive. This is exactly what is happening in the country. Again, you can decide for take a different stance from me, waiting I say. But then that means you get a tall order. You get a hard work for do. Because from what I've just said, which is bordered on evidence, she wasn't elected. Are you going to argue that? Is she not playing political role? So much so because you can play them, but you get to be careful. You get to understand the line. You can do them on the periphery of politics. But she's so obviously at the front line of politics. Are you going to argue that? And on which basis? She wasn't elected. She's the wife of the president. And I've just described her job, largely ceremonial. Make sure say you look after the path for we. So the path a day in the right shape of mind for can govern we. Make sure you attend to the part in needs as the part in wealth. Na net, na santem where una de na una privacy, you sort the part out. So when the part come, the part they smile, the part not even know say it smile, but it smile because why? You don't take care of inside and that. But this is not the case. Complete interference, dictating policies in the part, influencing the part. And for this, Fambulem, we say the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Madam Fatima Jabi Bio, is therefore number 2 on that list. And before I move to number 3, let's get it straight. The same thing way applicable to the president, people may say, but yes, of course, you say the president in MDD, there's a visa ban. How come they allow them to go? Again, because these are the first family. They get business for do. You can't cut down on them or pull the carpet under them because they have a country to run. If you do that, which the United States can do with them partners, then I mean, the reason why the DUAM has no effect in the sense that then the people become nothing. The people then begin to suffer big time because you pull all team on them, they're left with nothing. So therefore, these people and go to conferences, attend conferences in behalf of the country. But there will come a time when they will continue for squeeze. What is happening now is the Western world, led by the United States, is closing in on the government of Julius Maada Bio. It's going to be optional that you probably need for change or take a different turn as they talk about Julius Maada Bio government. Because the more they apply pressure on you, their expectation is now for let you change course. Because what you're doing, you're not supposed to be doing this. And this happened recently where we heard the outgoing ambassador, US Ambassador Rima, come out and say what he say. Now out of frustration, because the negotiation when they go on the inside, the Maada Bio government is not committed to that negotiation because all they want is power, if you understand. And so therefore it becomes really difficult. So the man come out and talk. But even when he come out and talk, the government so used in spinning, and then spinning what they do, let's be honest about it, is cheap, really cheap. But because again, then look at the salon people as if they're cheap. We kind of mental capacity, we modus compass. They work proper or not on that level, so they can come back and can play on we. Can you imagine? So therefore, while the man they talk something where we self able for read into, but then come and interpret and for we and we for follow waiting and they see. Can you imagine? No sincerity at all. But then we understand that because the center cannot hold, so the man come up from the inside, the man talk up, and this hurt them badly. It really hurt them badly. Okay. Number 3 on the list, okay, will be the commissioner. It will be the commissioner of police. I repeat, number 3 on the visa ban list of the United States of America will be the commissioner of police, Commissioner Fire Selu. Fabula, when I remember back, say what we talk about now how people then disturb democracy in the country, and not that the United States see they want the way undermine democracy. And that list, the number 3 is the commission. Yes, Famulem. We promise you we'll come back after the short break with Commissioner Fire Selu. The reason why we put Fire Selu there should be obvious to almost everybody, because for legitimize some of you action them, it means you can use people them or organization or institution we go help you for carry out the effort there of yours. In other words, you want for legitimize the effort and you want for use a service which is part of the structure of government. And one of the structures of government where you can use as a government will be the police. We need to understand what the police is. And remember, say the reason why we name Fire Selu is because it was being used by the government. Because why? This also is a constituted authority which is charged with keeping the peace and security of the country. The peace and security of the country internally. Okay? Because the police, now the business now to serve and to protect the people. The police under this government and Fire Selu renege on their promise and their constitutional duty, which is to protect. Did they protect? No, they were used. We see them with we own eye. They help for undermine democracy. Now them in the police the streets on the day in view of their duty where they abandon, but aid and abet the people and way undermine democracy. And as a consequence of this, they became complicit. They became an accomplice to the crime. So for this, there are many people in the police who participated in this, but we're not going to be able to name all of them. So therefore, we charge this to the commissioner of the police, the IG of the police, will happen to be Commissioner Selu. Commissioner Selu is responsible because he acts in tandem. He acts on the orders. He could have said no, but he acts on the orders of the powers above. Because when the United States say, or other people then say, I could equally say the same thing, you could equally say the same thing, that our democracy was tampered with or it was undermined. For undermine the process, you need players, you need actors, and those actors, they have to be state players, not to ordinary Joe when only they look for Ingari and Pamine for it. No, people in power. People waking, change the course of action, or we empowered as a consequence of the Constitution, such as the police. For either they on the people inside and refuse illegal orders, because orders can be illegal, but of course, the president chooses the police commissioner, and the police commissioner act in behalf of the president. Same thing happened. The commissioner before Fayaselu, I call him the comedian, the comical former chief of police. I mean, the guy is so, I don't know how he became the police commissioner, or probably, maybe we might need for speak to people more, because these people are professional people. They grew up through the ranks. But once they get to a certain position, and here is the problem why we make the president the number one man at the least, because we have this executive presidency in which the president is the all in all, the alpha and the omega. He therefore imposes through coercion where you not even need for use on the same people that way you appoint, because before they appoint you, now because I know say what I tell you for do, or you already know what I want, so I put you there. Hence why we see the former police boss Ambrose Sovula behave in this comical fashion, and this is the police boss of a country. Just imagine in behavior and tell me, how can you take such a police chief to be serious? He was so comical that you're not sure whether you want to laugh or cry, but I will cry because he's the police commissioner of my country. And that was in no way funny. It's not a funny position. The president relieve him, he put somebody there. We also get a high profile. We walk through the ranks and files of the police up to the point Usa Ide. But because, again, this man gets a serious face and serious attitude, not a comical way, like waiting Andrew Sovula be do, in which he just bow down to the presidency, and he became so comical, for let the president just like a more. It was more, this guy is more professional in the way how he do it in his own stuff. Did you hear about him more? No, but he's at the very center of this all. Okay, Fayaselu is at the very center of all of this, and he's a very professional man. He rose through the ranks of the police. The evidence is there; it's clear enough for let all man see. So the president Brian Kande, he put him in charge. He get a serious dispensation. If I come to come business, but something more serious. So for we, the police commissioner, Fayaselu, that his name made that list. I repeat, the Fayaselu, the police commissioner of the Republic of Sierra Leone, we have no doubt that his name made the list. Okay. So we now need to move on to number 4 on the list. Number 4 on the list. Number 4 on the list for we, as far as concerned, is a man we're also critical to the entire situation in the Republic of Sierra Leone. Very, very critical to the entirety of the situation in the Republic of Sierra Leone. And what we need for Ambulem is these people that we call, they are very germane, they are very central to the situation that we are talking about. And if the United States say they are penalizing those who help to undermine democracy, it's because there are people, these are individuals, of course, but they occupy positions or they have influence for for get a desired outcome. In other words, a democratic process supposed to be by the people, for the people, and with the people. So you hold an elections, and the vast majority of people turn out and then vote for a candidate of their choice. But then, as we understand, that process itself was undermined, not only during the elections, but of course, that's how you read elections, then call it the normative process. The normative process is long before the date itself. So we saw things like midterm census, for example. That was part of the normative process. So you put things them into shape, just like you doing shipbuilding or some construction, and put things them into place. That was it. And then you get people and we get for aid and abet that process day. So it not only start now, so Fambulem need for cast their mind back. So number 4 na this list, Fambulem, we say the Speaker of the Sierra Leonean Parliament, Dr. Abbas Bundu, is the number 4 man na this particular list of people who, according to the United States Department of State, which is the foreign ministry, help for undermine democracy in the country. I repeat, the Speaker of the House of Parliament of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Dr. Abbas Cherno Bundu, now one of the people may help greatly for undermine democracy in our country. Needless for let we ask how he did, because let we understand Dr. Abbas Bundu in position in the country. Dr. Abbas Bundu is the 3rd most important person, the 3rd most powerful person now we country than a Dr. Abbas Bundu. I repeat, Dr. Abbas Cherno Bundu, the Speaker of the House of Parliament of the Republic of Sierra Leone, he is the 3rd most powerful person in the Republic. And this comes after the President, the Vice President, and then the Speaker of the House. How we rank this is if something was to happen, constitutionally speaking, if the President becomes incapacitated whilst he is in the business of the presidency, and the Vice President is equally indisposed, not in a position for occupy that position because not the 2nd man. The 3rd person who will be sworn in for lead the state will be Dr. Cherno Abbas Bundu. Okay? So, him being the Speaker of the House, he used all the influence we available to Ram for change the cause of what is supposed to be a legitimate elections, a legitimate vote by the people, and then through parliament, which he is the head of. And therefore, we need to understand what parliament means in this effect. That parliament now they make the law them in the country. So imagine the laws that are supposed to govern the country, they are being made in parliament. And when they make them in parliament, the man when are the overall bra, when are the boss, when they accept the law, say we go pass them or not go pass them, who did it? Now in a doctor, Cherno, Abbas Bundu, we happen to be the parliamentary speaker of the Sierra Leone parliament. Very, very influential man, and he influenced a lot. If you want to talk about the PR system, if you want to talk about the public elections laws, and if you want to talk about midterm census, he was at the center of all of this. So very influential, and these are constitutional things now we need to talk about. Okay. Now, Fambulela, we move to the number 4 man. Now we parliament. Let's move to the number 4 man. Okay. Let me remember say, yeah, I hope say Fambulela they help me for count. Because I might lose charge. And we get 16 of them. Probably we go name 8 today. I go stop at 8 because I need to provide explanation around how we get them. And we go move to the other 8 probably on Wednesday or Thursday, because we get one candidate we will stand for elections where we interview, I believe on Tuesday or Wednesday, I will get for check me diary. So instead of the 16 names then where we don't compile, we will take too much into time. I will probably half them by dealing with only eight of them. 8 of them, okay? 8 of them. So let me continue. Okay. So candidate number 4. So we get the president, we get his wife, we get the speaker of parliament. We're on number 3. So let's go to number 4. Number 4. Number 4 for we in we compilation list will be Honorable Paran Tarawali. Paran Tarawali is the clerk of parliament. I repeat, Honorable Paran Tarawali is the clerk of parliament and also come from the ruling party, the SLPP Sierra Leone People's Party, and belong to a strain of the party called Paupa. Okay? So you get the party itself, the Sierra Leonean People's Party, a great party of the Republic of Sierra Leone, with a great mantra: one country, one people. I repeat, what an appealing adage. One country, one people. Unfortunately, this is not the case. Okay? We country don't become so polarized. We country don't become so divisive, so divided. Authored by the politician. But anyway, on list number 4 is Honorable Paran Tarawali. Waiting a Paran Tarawali in role. Of course, we can see him clearly as a clerk of parliament. When things they go in your way, they use unorthodox means for make sure say he impose in values on others. And in values means the ruling party in values, because you want to let things then happen your way and how you want for that happen. And then you get people within the house who, according to you, are disruptive. So how you rein them in is by using unorthodox means. The unorthodox means way Paran used a few times was like, for example, bringing in the police force into the well of parliament. Paran brought the police force into the well of parliament. And then he cheered on and actually gaslight the whole situation by encouraging from imposition Usa Iminde inside the house for the police to carry out waiting in they asked them for due whilst he was doing a running commentary. That's what Parantarawali do. He actually a running commentary, asking the police, catch them, hold them, throw them out, pull them na door, and what have you, to his fellow honorables, so-called honorables. That's what this honorable did to other honorables, so-called honorables. I call them so-called honorables because, let's face it, from a personal opinion of mine, which are not things that matter, they are not honorables. These guys are all cheats. These guys are all crooks looking after themselves. Because all the 5 years when they spend at parliament, all of them now forsake their own welfare. And the government being in power means say those that are from the side of government, they mean they enjoy better benefit. And the other side coming from the opposition, be they in a difficult situation in which sometimes, even though the interests be matter, or sometimes they want to show that they are fighting in behalf of the people, but was difficult because they mean they go up against a brick wall. So Parantarawali was one of those people. They call the police into the well of parliament and tell the police the police say, take them out. And we see a sour position in which the police brutalize, manhandle members of parliament as they were being thrown out of parliament. Can you imagine? These are honorables. These people were meant to be making laws or be an exemplary force in which others were meant to look up to, say now they run government in behalf of the country. We now una subject them, or una people and subject is hard to use like a word because it sounds like master and slave. So no, constituents, okay, I think that's acceptable. The electorate, that will be acceptable, that's fair enough. But then imagine una where they represent them people they are. Them bring policemen on them, they beat them up, vandalize them, molest them in front of the whole world for see. And that was championed by the clerk of parliament, Parantarawali. He was actually running a commentary. They clap and they instruct them during the live process. Oh, take them out. Oh, do this. Oh, do that. And he follows them with the compliment because they were all singing and clapping along. So for that, we believe say Parantarawali is number 4 na we list of people we get this visa ban. And I not only want to stop there when it comes to Parantarawali, to be honest. Let's just go back to in picture again quickly, because there are other significant things about where I believe say Fambulem need for know. Because we know we Fambulem that them we they talk to. We Fambulem that them we they talk to. Right. We Fambulem that them we they talk to. Yeah. So what we do know is this same Parantarawali, according to reports, we come out from Falaba and Koinadugu district during the elections, and this is not the critical part. Parantarawali now be one of the people we been the run thugs them now them places them they for intimidate people not for either come out, but for come out, intimidate una, beat una and change waiting una common do for can do for una respective people. So Parantarawali is alleged to have been running a thuggish group na Koinadugu and Falaba district during the elections. We understand say Paran spent over a month, a little bit over a month na Dugu and Falaba district for beat people up, coerce people for let them get into that situation they will eventually defend themselves. So this is what Honorable Parantarawali do. So because of this, we believe say Parantarawali is one of those people we help for undermine democracy in the country. And as a consequence of this, Paran make the list of the United States government's State Department on the one that with them ban for visa. Number 5. Now we go to number 5. Like I say, we go try for do 8. Number 5 will be a man we I had great respect for. I like him personally, you know, and at some point in politics, okay, I be like him personally, and at some point also in politics. Unfortunately, it turned out to become a completely different guy because the role where is supposed for play. And Uda na this person when at number 5 now we list. He is none other but Umaru Napoleon Kuruma. I repeat, number 5 now we list is none other but Umaru Napoleon Kuruma. Now, Fambulengo they ask about why Umaru make the list of people. But of course, it's simple, you know. First thing first, Umaru, they not the government. And people are not the government, their business now for defend the government. Whether wrong or right, some people can try for doing well. But Usai, when you defend something with tranga for defend, you go get for lie above all kind lie. Now that situation, the Umaru Napoleon Kuruma fend himself. They defend an obnoxious and a reprehensible regime. And the reason why I say I use these terminologies on them is because of the actions that they've taken. Of course, you get people and we like them. But the fact is, this regime is known to have killed Sierra Leoneans, brutalized Sierra Leoneans, murdered Sierra Leoneans. In other words, the people and them in support for help, for rule over. Okay. So Umaru Napoleon Kuruma, we happen to be the Secretary General of the SLPP, is seriously then at the top of the list. We put a number 5 because we understand say in self been the help for coordinate. I use the word again for coordinate. Thugs, SLPP thugs. Let me just repeat that for effect. Umaru Napoleon Kuruma is known for coordinating SLPP thugs in the southeast. You see, they all get respective areas, so you can see that they shape themselves up. And we know this because there were people watching them as these actions were unfolding. So Napoleon Umaru Kuruma is known to have, been somebody we been the coordinate the actions of SLPP thugs in the southeast during we elections. Now you don't have to take this from me. You can go ask other people and we been doing that axis there. Muyamba, not the main axis. Go ask Ujehun is another one. We need for go into that. So therefore, we look at Napoleon Umaru Kuruma as one of them, then we been the undermine the democratic process in the country. And not only stop there, I mean, this guy do a lot of stuff. Umaru Kuruma do a lot of stuff. Napoleon, most people they know as Napoleon Kuruma. Waiting we also Yeri, he stands accused of going around. Remember, say again, the reason why we put the police into this and accuse the police inspector Fire Selu is because the police was responsible for the security of the country on that day. You have to understand the army. The army in business, na external aggression. The police, their own business, na internal policing, security internally under the Ministry of Internal Affairs. But because these people and get passes, they are the government officials. So they mean they patrol that day with jeeps, all kind 4x4. People were there, saw them. There are videotapes of these. So I'm not making this up, okay? I'm not make any of this up. is said to have been one of those we been a patrol or parade with motorcar, we be they accuse them of ballot stuffing. In other words, they may get ballot boxes inside the box. Then your business now for go to polling stations, remove the ballot box, then when they already don't stuff for themselves, President Bio and the SLPP, and then change them with the people and regular vote. So you already know, say this station, we don't can do this changing. Now we the win them because why? We don't bring the ballot way already we get it now for we serve. So that's what Napoleon Kuruma is known for. Then catch him red-handed, according to reports, back again at the Falaba and Koinadugu axis. So not only na the southeast, but it also na the north and northwest and perform. Then we show trick there the changing of ballot boxes, what I just talked about earlier on, and then ballot paper them with them again on the motorcar. And Fabulous just need for reflect some time ago, say there were a lot of talk about ballot papers them. We see them na social media. Waiting and try for do now for confuse we by saying these are sample ballot papers. But on the day of election, waiting sample ballot papers they do, they make the rounds for. I can tell you now simple, it was intentional for confuse we because those who were going around trying to rig our elections had been caught red-handed. So the need for fend an excuse and for muddy the waters, which is a pattern in design of we Fambulem still. Anyway, we need for move to person number 5, I believe. Yes, number 5. Yeah. Okay. Person number 5 for we. Okay. And before they go to person number 5, I hope say the issue of Napoleon Kuruma don't sink in proper. Because sometimes they are not a thing that we really know as ordinary people. Let's be honest about this. These are not things that we readily know. Sometimes it can take a while and when you say, hey, well, so this other person, then catch them with this and then catch them with that. Other than that, we just go with the regular basis of things the way we understand. But this not in this situation. But for this, it get for change. So we candidate for number 5 position is none other but Austin Johnny. Austin Johnny, now we candidate for number 5 position. Well, except you extreme in your thoughts. Because Austin Johnny, a person will be there with face full on. And what I say now with face, you no need for me to like person to person. It's like adding a station. So now at the talk. So we are having a face-to-face conversation. So I'm in your face. You're going to hold me responsible for some of the things them or all of the things that I am saying. Austin Johnny, been there all over the place. They challenge people them. Not only challenge because of course you can challenge. But these are the people that we've been threatening Sierra Leoneans them, saying the consequence with Sierra Leoneans then will meet if they do the other. In other words, go against the Julius Maada Bio government. Just by voting, exercising a franchise, then go see what thing happen. He threatened the people that then go wear black, their mama then go wear black. Because if then they do the opposite of what they want, which is vote against, then we'll see the consequences, then we'll feel the consequences. And not only people and self where they talk to now, are the people that they behind them. So in other words, the youths then go don't die, according to Austin Johnny, then go kill them. He said these things, then go kill them. The APC, the SLPP is not the SLPP of yesterday. He used all kind of threatening remarks. Kill, that they go do this, then go do that, and he went to certain region where innocent opposition stronghold them and then threaten people them, and nothing came out of this. This man was on radio station programs. I don't even know why they entertain him on radio station programs once they don't get to know who he was. Then I go hold them radio stations and they're responsible as well. I mean, if you not be known, then of course that's understood. But he kept doing it over and over and over, threatening the people about killing outright. So with candidate number 5, now Austin Johnny, he's a reprehensible guy. He's a moron. He is despicable, unacceptable, and he say those things, combat and all for good threatening, backed by the government. But of course, the government not even call on one day for asking a question or for caution and say, Paddy man, take them with you, they say. It's not really called for. Because why? He was being backed. So this, now with number 5 man, we help for undermine democracy. Let me go to number 6. Before we go to number 6, let me see if we can get in picture up. We not use an Austin Johnny picture because I get a confusing scenario regarding Austin Johnny in picture. So I not be one put a picture of somebody false on the chat, potentially that can be used against me, and I don't want for that to be used against me. Okay, so we have to exercise caution. So number 6, now we list of potential people them where the U.S. government ban will be Dr. Prince Alex Harding. I repeat, number 6, now we list of potential people them where the U.S. government ban will be Dr. Prince Harding. Now, Prince Harding is a very big man with the right up there, apart from the presidency. But of course, the party in power, Dr. Prince Harding gets sway over the party in power. At some point, it was even by party politics far more powerful than the president. Remember that we country, the presidency is an executive presidency. Dr. Prince Harding been very powerful than the presidency. Dr. Prince Harding been in a position for say, we are not going to allow Manabio for go for a second term. In fact, Dito, he can name somebody where he want or where they want for go on for become the flag bearer of the party. But of course, the president smelled that, so it changed that notion. They changed that position. So instead of chairman and leader all encompass as one together, it changed them completely. So the powers of one person has been reduced, still very powerful. And we know what happened during that period because it was difficult to let go. Dr. Prince Harding not be one agree, and Amman was still very powerful, get connections within the party. So they arrive at a compromise. But anyway, Dr. Prince Harding, I can go to many other things than what he say. But needless for waste time because time is catching up with us. But waiting, he just say in the most recent of times, it show clearly how this man undermine democracy or how he they undermine them. He called the white people them dwarfs. Imagine. He called them dwarfs. Calling them dwarfs is not the big deal. Now the context in which he called them dwarfs. Because they ask them question and tell them, say, what you want to do is not correct. So he tried for malign them, he tried for demean them, and was outrightly insolent, insulting to these people and the people in the area. But not only that, it's like if you did do them and you are right, then of course that's a different story. But no, it wasn't right because the elections was being contested. There were people who were saying, we're not satisfied with the conduct of the elections, and not only on the domestic front, but the international community who came to monitor the elections. They said no. Instead, they decide for woke up the supporting base. Dr. Prince Harding in front of the president, which wasn't strange, because what he said before the president is something the president himself had said. He just went the extra mile for insult them, calling them dwarfs. Remember the story? I lived in the United Kingdom for 18 years. I didn't only go there as an adult. I went to school there. In other words, my primary school stages, it was in the United Kingdom. And as a consequence of that, I understand the mentality of these people. And understanding the mentality of these people means that I can assess them, I can evaluate them. This is the situation. That's what Dr. Prince Hadin said, alias Bullet. And they are dwarfs. The president didn't go on for say, I see some with man and they jump. Can you imagine? You just take money from them and you celebrate. Oh, then still they give you money. You just sign documents with, oh, Samura and Madabio don't sign. And many other agreements. And then when you come to term for keeping those agreements, you violate the agreements brazenly. You empower people for go against the ethos of the moments and things that they want to agree to. Dr. Prince Hadin ridiculously with them on that basis. Whenever they say you can't do that or you can do that, but he do that in with half. Just that all of us did not accept that. But the side who side in the support accept that. And the reason why I do that, now for undermine democracy, he call the people midgets, dwarfs. Now the people are striking back. So because of this, we believe, say, Dr. Prince Hadin, a name definitely the another travel list. Number 7, na the names of we travel list. Go be somebody we very, very critical to the entire Julius Maada Bio in government. Very critical. I mean, then, very critical to Julius Maada Bio in government. Okay. This person was very, very active. When I say active, I mean very active. It's not like we then sway you. I mean, you decide for take the burden. You decide for take the burden of others and wear them and say, well, Namigo will continue for out these acts. And because back again, you back been bitter. So you decide, say, this is exactly what I am going to do. And I'm going to do it in behalf of my party. And this is what this particular guy did. He was so abhorrent. He was so rubbish. He was so anti-Sierra Leone. He wasn't pro-Sierra Leone. Those actions does not demonstrate pro-Sierra Leone because you can't do things that alienate the other side because of your kind politics. So you support one side, yet you are a government minister, but then you alienate the other side so badly that you not even realize that. So you can't be serious or you can't be taken seriously because your kind of politics is really pathetic. It's really divisional. And we possibly take that position there in this particular list, number 7. It's none other but the former deputy leader or deputy minister of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Lahai Lawrence Lima. Needless for that, I go deep into it because Lahai Lawrence Lima became a household name, not for good reasons though, for negative reasons. Because he was always there trying to show, I don't even understand the brother in mindset. I mean, he was almost like a non-entity, or he was a non-entity. As far as we're concerned with the politics, and then they talk about human beings, and they talk about with politics. He was nothing. And then he rose to prominence. But instead of him accepting a new role of prominence and see how we can pass it for a future, because sometimes politics fumble. And let me just say something quickly about politics. Politics now the maker and breaker, but it is shape people and for the future. You will not have come from a political family or you not even belong in that class there, but somehow you manage for fend your way there. You see why there's a political class? Like, for example, the people that we rule with 1960, or we get independence, their picking and their spouses and their offsprings are still in politics. The Gandhi Capios, the Albert Magais, the Siaka Stevens, the Solomon J.A. Pratts, you name them, they are still there. Some of the people, they found favor in that. They understand themselves and they move into that situation there and then carve a niche, a place for themselves, so that therefore them begin and go follow, then just fine tune them. But this guy, Lahai Lawrence Lima, I mean, he's a despicable guy. If people like what you can call a country bad at, where somebody get bad at, and now on that basis they describing the act. Really, really unfortunate. Young fella with an opportunity, but he continue to do the same thing. If he can a studio, he sit down with other guests them, all he does na threats, knock table and then point finger at them, because the power was so raw. That wasn't helpful, but he did so many things. He was accused of extrajudicial killings. Prior to the August 10 event in Sierra Leone, people say he went from house to house. He picked up people, McKinney and other places. He was at the center of it, and he never shied away from these things anyway. He said that law and order has to be maintained, which is true, but how do you do that? How do you? And then August 10, we say he been from point A to point B. Actually, they pull people inside and host them and killing them. This is unforgivable, Lawrence. And then prior to August 10 was Pademba Road. Now, the leader of the women's wing of the SLPP, Madam Fatmata Sawane, made it very clear about the players who had assembled at Pademba Road to commit genocide. A number of people were exterminated on that day. To this day, we still try to find out the numbers, but we know that tens of dozens of people were killed. And Madam Fatmata Fatmata Sawane made this clear to us. Who were those that were there? In fact, again, this is the other thing. She is a civilian. She still continues to remain a civilian. She never had any government position. And at the period that we are talking about, there was curfew in place. Curfew means restriction of movement of people from a certain time to a certain time. And at the period that we are talking about, in the early hours of that morning, that fatal morning, she was already there. And then the deputy minister, High Lawrence Lima, turned up, and then it became a killing spree. People died, Sierra Leoneans, some innocently. And I want to believe, in fact, not even some, all of them innocently. None of them deserve what met them on that day. Because why? They were somewhere where the law was supposed to take its course. Some of them have been taken there, and they were not even supposed to be there because of the faults of our system. Yet they met the end on that day. To this day, we don't know what happened. Same kangaroo inquiry set up, Teflon inquiry, fake inquiry, packed with the same people who are supposed to give a desired outcome that the regime expects. But we people and die for nothing. August 10, same thing. And for this, we say Lahai Lawrence Lima. Now we candidate number 7 with the another list day. Candidate number 8 come as a little bit of a surprise to some, but of course, the Foreign Minister of Information, Rado Raman Swari. This was difficult for me. I've met him a few times. I've had conversation with him a few times. He's been supposed to appear on this platform a few times, but of course, he not take off. But no hard feelings, no grudges. And this is not the reason why. But I talked to Rambo, of course. He was a gentleman, well-spoken, and etc. The difficulty here is he's got a regime that he had to defend, even though he had to defend, but then he had to do it than a part of in job. Okay? So not be part of his job. It began for Duan definitely, and he continue for Duam up to the point where he left the job for another ministry. But definitely Famulem, we candidate number 8, Narado Raman Swari, the former minister of information. Now, why did his name made the list? Rado Ramanswari in name make this list for few reasons. Okay. Rado Ramanswari in name make this list for few reasons. One of the most key reason why Raman made the list, I said earlier, but probably people don't catch that, was Naina be the Minister of Information. The Minister of Information in job now for defend the government. The job of the minister now for defend the government. So even though this is your job, but if you are doing this and doing so, even when that defense they become untenable, that means you cannot do it anymore, or you're not supposed to do that because it's obvious, it's clear, but you continue for doing, then you are equally complicit. He was the man that will always go to the airwaves, whether on the local press, the international press, for defend the habit or the actions of the government. That's what Minister Rado Swari did as Minister of Information. Now you can get that clearly, say the Minister of Information in business, now for defend government, but not for defend government for abhorrent things them. But that's what was happening. Government do some things that are truly unacceptable. Then they call for Kango defend them. Ebo, I mean, that's such a difficult position, isn't it? But that was the work of Rado Swari. Now, it does not only stop there. But for sure, say Rado Swari himself was at the center of things. In other words, there were attitudes or behaviors by others where I want to refer to as either paramilitary or Kamajowena militia forces. We see a famous video we want to do where people then say, Mr. Minister, this is what we are doing in your behalf. Look like a military formation, then take positions for stop the opposition from going into those areas of theirs for contest election. I repeat, in certain places, okay, in certain places, we see video then we come out. We show people then we come out and say, Rado Ramanswari, people then they act in his behalf. In other words, they stop the opposition people from going into those places to campaign. And this goes to people like, APC not campaigning and not campaigning. Well, if you were stopped from going there to campaign, you did not campaign there because you were stopped. If they not allow you banner for go up and the few way you try for put up were toned down, now because not because you don't get money for put up a banner, now because the people that we did it, they say, no, we don't want you banner naya. And this is depriving others from campaigning in a process that's supposed to be open so that it's a fair contest. But people that use their position, they say opposition need to come here. And the person who they do it in behalf of in one or two occasions was the minister then of information, Raman Rado Swari. The people that come out, I still get that video in my archive. And the minister himself knew this because he was compelled for come out for offer a rebuttal. He tried for fine tune them because he can't just cuss them people in the away. In other words, he not just come out and just reject them, which he should have done, or most of us expected him to have done, because what they do was despicable. Just condemn them. No, they are not doing this in my behalf, but it can be fine-tuned up. Again, from an investigatory point of view, it could only be most likely because there's a connection and you might need them in the future. So you don't want to how you call them, for set them aside, for lose them. So you put fine word them out without really condemning them for the abhorrent thing we didn't do, because that was totally uncalled for. Block a place, a bunch of civilian people, made a live tape, and no one was arrested, no one was investigated. And for this, we say we candidate number 8, Narado Ramanswari, we help for undermine democracy, both by defending abhorrent behavior all of the time on local and international press, and the actions of people and the action that we then take when they say that they do in behalf of them, and you not come and condemn them and disown them. Instead, if fine tune them. Okay. So candidate number 9, Professor David Francis. Candidate number 9, Professor David Francis. This will find professor. We come up from a certain department now, Bradford University in the United Kingdom. That's where Professor Francis emanated from, known as the professor. The man who was charged with writing up the government accountability process, how they forgo about them. In other words, the GTT report, the transitional report, when they take over for take stock, the president charged the responsibility of so doing with Professor Francis. Say we need for take stock, wait till we meet, wait till we take over, and then from there we need for act, for hold people then responsible, which all of us supported because it sounded like a real genuine move. We go help for heal the rift in Sierra Leone. Little did we know that no, it wasn't so. It was only buying the love of the Sierra Leonean people and channel them into themselves, and then set up a division between X and Y, North, Northwest, against South, Southeast. That's exactly what happened. And we say so because we have the benefit of the doubt. The GTT report, if we visit her now, we took notice of that a long time ago, that it was tribal, it was regional, it was targeted. And in fact, the reason why we say targeted is the same reason why we say it was tribal and regional. Because those who were targeted in it came from a certain sector of the society and the demography of the country. Okay? So we say candidate number 9, now Professor David Francis. Professor David Francis. Now we candidate number 9. So what did he do? He use position with the president committed to for do a report on the transitional government. And what thing can happen there now is certain people were targeted. Certain people were targeted. And certain people, it would be so obvious that people who are not of the same tribe, people who are not of the same region. Of course, don't get it twisted and don't get fooled. Certain people who are not of the same, or the region one put them, or say it was representative of the country, they made the list. But what happened to them? Were they apprehended? Were they? No, they were not. They not do so, they not apprehend them. Let us be honest with that. So now make we know say, now certain people them been target, and up to this point as we speak, the same people and they became the victim of this particular scheme called the GTT report. Professor David Francis aided and abetted the Julius Maada Bio government for a period of 5 years whilst he was there. He's been removed from that central position there now, but for 5 years he aided and abetted. He defended the Julius Maada Bio government in many respects, undermining democracy. Wetin he try for do, he use in influence and in contact and in position for give other people a different impression as to what the real story on the ground is. These are the people that will use academic intellectualism, if you will like, for shape the opinion of others, for belief say that Marabio is doing right. He also used these connections, as we understand abroad, through lobbying group for paint a rosy picture of the Julius Maada Bio government, even though there were atrocities being committed back at home. Lobbying firms, PR firms, spend taxpayer money. He was at the center of it. We also know that he is also somebody who write speeches then for the president, we design the presidency into something else, which was definitely not what it were. It wasn't true. When the August 10th thing happened, this is one of the people that took to the international waves, because then he was then a foreign minister, so responsible for do a briefing to the diplomatic community in our country. He painted a completely different picture in which the Sierra Leoneans then that die, this man get the audacity and gall and bladder for paint them as thugs. Imagine your country people and we die as thugs. No respect at all. Nothing of the kind. Even though an investigation had not been held yet, for at least determine, say, well, this person will die, even they go attack somebody, and in that process they die. No. All of these Sierra Leonean civilians that will die, he painted them as thugs. This is unusual. This is uncalled for. This is totally the work of somebody who sort of have a brain problem for call your own citizen thug, even though they have not been determined as such by the courts. But that's what he did. And painted the picture of the police, as people and women in southern country. I can't fault him for that. Yes, they were serving their country, as they talk about during the August 10, and met this gruesome death. But instead of keeping it open, and especially without a police conclusion or investigation, he went on to separate, even in death, Sierra Leoneans, two sets of Sierra Leoneans, one a victim and the other an aggressor. And now we begin to understand, or people like us are looking into, what caused the aggression in the first place. How did the protest become violent? How? Why did they become violent? But this is what Professor David Francis did. That's exactly what he do. Okay, so for that we believe, say, Professor David Francis is the number 9 man na the list of people where we believe, say, undermine democracy. Okay. Now let me come to the final one for today. Not say family and self go on tire, or some people and still enjoy this. Number 10 at the list is a CSO man where they call Joseph Sano. I think say they had a NGO where they call Hill Salon or something like that. I mean, this guy is exceptional. It's beyond reproach, to be honest. This guy called for the investigation or the invitation of the US outgoing ambassador Rima to the CID for can answer questions for waiting he say. Now imagine, first of all, this is a CSO, okay? A CSO. Now in the call for them kind thing there, you have to imagine this. A so-called CSO, they call for the invitation of the US ambassador to CID for questioning. Now you waiting Abiwale Fambule imagine now, had it been an ordinary person, because there is ample record of waiting ordinary people and only go through. In other words, day-to-day Sierra Leonean. Let me have some water, please. Pardon me. day-to-day Sierra Leone and waiting and only go through. And you get person like this, where now then they now decide they actually call for the abuse of their fellow Sierra Leonean them, the disrespect of their fellow Sierra Leonean them, the jailing or extrajudicial, because this is what it amounts to, extrajudicial killings, because we saw all of this. And this now CSO, Joseph Sano. I mean, in video, then go viral with what he say. You get people and we support him, and people and we support him as such, they are equally guilty as in the Sano man himself. But then thing they are, wait me, they say, and do way other people in the back. Why should this be the case? Yes, I mean they talk about in the Joseph Sano in profile, not just the look. So he is the founder and executive director of Help East Agony in Life Sierra Leone. It's called Heal SL. Let me just put this up so you can go see in picture and in profile. And this is a complete disgrace, family. Let me be honest with you guys. Because Yaso, now then and now, we try for keep 100. In other words, what we say here, we try not for mix them up. We try for give Antona in a raw way. So, family, if you look at the screen, you will see this is the profile of Joseph Sano, the manual they talk about. This guy is heading this agency called Help Ease the Agony in Life of Sierra Leoneans that incompetence them. But just juxtapose this in profile or what it is supposed for they do within foundation with in real life and things the way you don't see. The guy is such of a moron. A day on TV, on radio, because why again? The government entertains him. But he as an individual not understand the role way is supposed for the play. Because why, again, we suspect he's getting backing from the government, probably funding from the government. And people who get funding from the government are thinking, try for be so extreme in waiting and they say. So extreme in waiting and they say. So this is Joseph Sano operating a non-profit organization that focuses on education. He's long played an active role in advocating for students' rights, including access to qualified education, enhancing learning conditions, and campaigning for the reduction. Let me see, reduction of what? We don't see just on profile. Last year, I able to find a few pictures of this guy where they talk about. Okay, yeah, there are a few pictures of him on Google. So that's Joseph Sano for you guys. This family, I won't be honest, is abhorrent, is distasteful in action, them distasteful. You get a few videos then. Maybe the next time when we come on live, we will try for play them. But this is exactly what this guy don't do. Can you imagine this? He come out, he say them for arrest the US ambassador or for invite them for questioning. How you as a CSO, when they promote something we don't see in profile just now, suddenly get into that? The reason why, again, because he has become very, very political. He's part of the political class. Now, one of hack, I call them hack, H-A-C-K, where they act as if they have an NGO or a foundation where they cater in the people on behalf. But lo and behold, they are government operatives. And he showed that in many of his videos, we come out and just clearly back government without apprehension, without hesitation, without any degree of pessimism, just straight kind of forward. This is Joseph Sano. And because of this, we believe, say, Joseph Sano is number 10 on we list. So, Fambul, and this brings us effectively to an end of the list for today. We believe, say, then 10 people there, 99%, most likely they're on the list. And time not they fire again, we'll find out about this. This is not a thing they want to make public, although some people may expect them to make it public. No, it's not public. What the US will have done, they will have forwarded these names to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then any other person we want go apply for interview or for visa, or you already get multiple visa, you want travel, and they deny you. That's how you get to know. This is the way it works. And before I come to we messages them or the chat room, can I just say, family, We need for show maximum respect to people like Cherno, Alpha, Emba of the African Express. Of course, we understand that he commands massive respect. He does. People that will not like him, then try for downplay him and try for downplay in works. What people need to understand, your works cannot be taken away from you. This is his legacy. It's just like what you do. It's my legacy. You can try for downplay him. It doesn't go away. It's going to stay forever and ever, long after I am gone. That's why it's well documented in social media, YouTube, and etc. I've got other places, Telegram channel, and other places as well. They are there. So we need for respect Chernobyl. Some of these things, the way they happen as a consequence of the actions taken by the international community, and because of people like Chernobyl. And the way how we know this, I know I even talk of recent times, and I've said this before, just go back. When people have been interviewed the president at the height of all of this crisis before the elections on the issues of corruption and etc., whether in a mainstream legacy media, Al Jazeera, CNN, the BBC, the Skies, the MSNBC, and you name it, the evidence would have been used, been based, you self need for go check that, been based on the writings of the African Express, not only him per se, many others, but it was also based on him. This is the basis on which they asked the questions of this president, whether the issue of corruption, follow the money trail, climate change, environmental problems, education, budgetary allowance, the how you call them, the wage bill, how the woman name, the Auditor General, Madam Tilopias, all of these things is people that are bringing it to the limelight, and those people need to be respected. Okay, make us so that we're able to turn quickly to a few comments. Of course, we don't go too fast, so we're not able to read all of them, Fambulen. Please try to understand this. So we go just quickly go through a few, but I want to tell everybody thank you for tuning in. Can I say thank you to everybody for tuning in, please? Let me see, who do I start with? Where do I start? Okay, let me start here. There's quite a few comments, and this now Abdul Sisse. Abdul Sisse say, Peter, check the role of Hillary on the U.S. government. She became a presidential candidate and also a Secretary of State after her husband exit White House. Fatima has not attained any position. Okay, this is not between two people that I get an idea, but I'm not going to weigh in into that because I not see what spark Abdul in comment. But let me say this: we have to be careful because Fatima Bio definitely harbor presidential elections. We can overlook her now, but just study patterns and behavior. Don't you think that she would like to be the person in charge, even when she's not in charge, but she's in charge? Don't you think that she would love the idea? Watch my words. Thank you very much. So Uda, we get Miriam, Sister Miriam Ibrahim Alpha Khan. Okay. So this basically in a conversation between people. Let me see Peter Dowda. What does Peter? Please don't write off our First Lady. She also have political. Oh yes, I agree, Peter Dowda. So for once, because Peter Dowda, for once I agree with you. Of course she has. She has. And we don't have to overlook that. I do a video about 3 years ago in which I talk about this presidential ambition of Fatima Bio. I equate that with Grace Mugabe. I will play the video one of these days anyway. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Okay, so let's see. Peter Dowda went on again for say, your list must include Ernest by Koroma, Samora Kamara, and Usman Yassane. Okay, not a waiting me one for dinner the list. Now, I make a try for give reasons as to why I think these people are on the list. I don't see how Ernest Koroma undermine democracy, except you want to tell me how. If you know how, please let us know. And that goes with the others. Uda, you mentioned Samura Kamara and Usman Yassane. I don't see how these people undermine democracy. I see these people as victims of waiting happen. Okay, not those that undermine democracy. But if you know how, please let us know. Okay, let's see. Who is this? Okay, Kai Tiafo. Okay, Kai, good evening, my brother. I would like to counter some of the claims you're making. You have no knowledge of how the State Department works. Please allow calls later. Unfortunately, Kai, this is not a calling program, but I would like for honor you call on another day so we can talk about this. I don't agree by you saying I don't understand how the State Department works. You can come out with these outlandish statements. I do understand how the State Department works. I do understand how international relations work. I understand some degree of international law. So I don't know what you're talking about. But as usual, you make these claims and then you can't back them up with substance. But on another day, I'll give you an opportunity for let we have a conversation on this. Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. Where did you get the list from? I heard that Fatima Bio is pregnant. I don't know if maybe that's why she's quiet. Lucia Ban. I don't know if she's pregnant. No, I don't know about that. That's too much tabloid for me. The list is one that we ourselves compiled based on waiting the United States say, then they put the travel ban for. They say those that are responsible for undermining democracy. Anybody with half a brain can sit down and think, who are those who undermine democracy with the United States they talk about? And as sure say, some people will come up with 1 name, 2 name, 5 name, 10 name. We came up with 10 today, and we got more. And we know say even that list where they go to United Nations, that list they definitely don't change because some people on that original list are banned from going. Their visas have been revoked. So on a new list, but it will become an argument because we don't know the original list. But what we do know, some people that were on that delegation, they will have to be dropped because the list has changed. Okay. What in this other person say? BO will be allowed to the US under tight conditions. And if people think this is funny, then watch from the 19th to the 23rd when things start to unfold. Of course, I agree with you. You are absolutely right. Whilst there are restrictions on visa, but there are still caveats around all of this. So some people, and that includes the president, this is the president. Nobody need to try for downplay the presidency. So it will be allowed under tight conditions, okay? Because he get business for go conduct after all. He is the head now. Yes, he will be allowed, and I won't be surprised for C&A. It's not like he's been banned, like he's not going there. No, he will be there. Thank you very much for that. Let's just look at 3 or 4 more comments and then we close this. Peter Dowda, if the rumor mongering is true, Fatima will become the first lady to have a baby in the State House. Of course, this is something that we welcome. Why not? I mean, this is history. I love the making of history. If the president has been having this fun, at the State House, to a point where he make baby, this historical moment, I think is something that we're supposed to embrace. Put away all these political difference, and just welcome the first family with the first baby to be born in the State House. Okay, thank you very much for that, Dauda. Lucretia Ba. It is that your own list on the American list? Please confirm that for me. Yes, sister. Yes, Sister Lucretia. This is my own list that I compile, or we own list now the then and now. This is a platform. So now we own list what we compile. But for make a more convincing, we try for make people understand, understand the reason why we compile this list. The USA, they say that they revoke visas to those who they believe are undermining democracy. Now, if you sit down and think, waiting a democracy, now we country, now who then undermine democracy, then you were able to come up with a list. So yes, my dear sister, this is our list. Jerry, is this Jerry Brown? Jerry Brown? Paran should be the fifth. Paran for be the fit on the list. Okay, brother, I go change on the next time and make them fit on the list. I love my people. Suma, Bines Suma, illegitimate president. Okay, what does the next one say? He is not the president of the people of Sierra Leone. He's there for himself. He's self-imposed. Also, he's fake brigadier. His true title is retired captain. Okay, right. What's next? Mother Fatima Faya Abbas Emparan, now number 5. Okay, somebody was following me. Interesting. Like I say again, I mean, I take only 3 more. The comments are many, and wanna forgive me for this. Political division in the country has always existed. It is true that has always existed. The question here: what do we do for narrow the gap? We're not doing anything for narrow the gap, and this is not the problem. And the worst thing is what we are doing. Everything we will input into RAM now for widening the gap, and this is dangerous. Thank you for your comments. Arnold, Arnolda. Okay, Delvin Thomas. Thievery of the vote is never acceptable, no matter who you are. You might agree with stealing elections, but majority are not in favor. This behavior is unfavorable and against the interest of our people and country. Obviously, this person may refer to my brother Delwin, and it is true. Stealing are stealing. Yeah, stealing of the vote is not encouraged in any way, shape, sense, or form. Binesuma, during his stint with the MPRC military junta, he self-decorated. I think, okay, Bine, it seems like say you really get issue with President Bio. Yeah, okay. Let me see. Pardon me, can I find someone else? Okay, I think I got someone. Who is this? Charles. Brother Charles. I just can't see how the president loves his country at this point. He should have put on his big boy pants and demand the electoral commissioner publish the RRFs, which with his belief that he can contest 10 times. Absolutely, brother. I agree with you on this 110% if mathematically possible. True. Why not put all of this hassle aside, your legitimacy, the questions around you, where you believe, say, 10 term, if I stand against this guy at the beat and 10 term, and just tell you, commissioner, say, but you have published that business, let the whole world see. I agree with you. You couldn't have said it better. Many thanks for that. Yeah, this is the enjoying part where he forgot he is a forger of hotel bills as per the okay, that's Bine again. Yeah, he's all on the president. But this is true anyway, because then they also they pan on the report. For the first time we hear something what they call double dipping. And we were supposed to see a man who was cleaning the image of Sierra Leone. You can't have it funnier than this, would you? Okay. Go to court if lied about you guys stealing the vote, shameless fraudsters. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know who the fraudsters are. Probably it's APC in this sense, if I get the sentiment right. Madabi was a military officer willing to fight and die for his country, unlike Ernest Koroma, who was a dodgy insurance broker. I agree with you, Peter. I've said this before. He opted for the army, went into the army, enlisted, and fought for his country. That we must congratulate him for. But does that give him a pass for what he's doing because he fought for the country? This is where I think we've got the difference. Let's see Lamran Abba. Mother is just power conscious. He can kill his power, but I don't blame him. I blame the security forces. Mother also cannot fight millions. Yes, of course. And I go on this one. If I not read you comment, it's not personal for say I don't want to read them. Please try for understand because we don't run out of time. But I promise you now we will come soon with many, many other programs. One of the major programs will come up. Now one on MP Mohammed Bangura. We're going to be doing something on Mohammed Bangura. We know say he can come and do all of the talking. What we can do now, we do deep research and try for use designs, methods for show whether Mohammed Bangura is committed to the cause, like you say, now for the people and what have you, we go look into in history, how he arrived, Usa Ideso, and then together we go make the determination whether he's fraudulent, he's a Judas, he's a betrayer, or he's a hero. Okay? That they come up, I promise you now. We get a candidate where we go stand the elections, where we the interview, I believe Tuesday or Wednesday. The flyer they come out soon. Please keep tuned. Finally, Fambulem, I want to say thank you to Una very much for taking time for listening to we broadcast. We're very grateful for this. The then and now is here for you, and we believe that you are here for the then and now. Una, let we continue for share, even though the program done. It helps us. The more, not only sharing, the last video where we do, I think it approached 50,000. 50,000, that's massive. But also, you can't get 50,000 and you get 1,000 likes. That's good. But if we get more likes, it will make we able for bring in very important and senior guests them. Probably the president, probably the chief justice. We try to get hold of the chief justice. Maybe one day we might have him on this platform despite waiting people and think. The election, I mean, we're not done with them, we will still continue. List number 11, where we start next week. I mean, this weekend, it will begin with Adegiuna Aegis now, Mohammed Kone, the election commissioner. We left number 11 for good reasons, and we will explain that, even though it will be not be number 3, but we left number 11. But we'll start next week as number 11. As usual, we love we Fambulem, we love we guest, and we know we people them are also a great follower of this particular program. I want to say thank you one final time for tuning in. But please subscribe to our YouTube page. Okay, all what you will do, we do from an organic fashion. When they pay money for develop you go get people the way they follow you. Get 50,000, 60,000 people the way they follow you because you pay for them. They don't exist. So we own more organic. We get about 5,000, 6,000 people them, but this not people and we actually they follow we, they watch we. But let me continue for shape and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please, you can follow with Facebook page or you like the page. That will be good. You can also follow me on Twitter. On Twitter, I've got a way of communicating with Fambulem on Twitter. Very interesting. But once more, thank you very much. Until we catch up again, I can't continue for say how much I love you guys. Long live Salone. Long live the people of Salone. Search for the truth because it's always there. Until then, catch up. Bye-bye.